Iterative improvements, new solutions, huge investments, and interconnections to a global logistical market. A flurry of huge updates you probably missed, so let's take a look at all of them together. Welcome back to Woodland Pools. Today it's time for the weekly report. Now, there's been so much going on lately at the protocol level with the Vasil hard fork and everything leading up to it that we realized there's been some big news for some of our favorite projects that has slipped through the cracks. So this week what we want to do is, let's take a look at some of those big announcements and the roadmap moving forward. We'll take a look at Strica, adaHandle, NMKR, and Book.io. If you want to jump straight to the announcements for a specific project, check the chapters down below. Let's jump in. And let's start with the Strica team. Now, as a reminder, Strica is the same team that makes the Typhon Wallet and that runs Cardanoscan. If you remember, they're also the same team that put together the Ledger Live integration and made it that you can now send and receive ADA straight from Ledger Live without requiring a third-party application. And the big announcement for Strica is that their Ledger Live integration Phase 2 has been approved. Now, what we're going to see is by the end of Phase 2, we'll now be able to stake our ADA on Ledger Live directly, and you won't even need to use another third-party app. So we're getting closer and closer here to being able to do everything you need to do from Ledger Live. Of course, things like catalyst voting and stuff like that, you'll still want to use a wallet like Typhon, but this is yet another big step closer to broader adoption where people that aren't yet familiar with Cardano and aren't quite comfortable with downloading and installing and running a third-party app for their wallet can do everything that they want to do directly from Ledger Live. Next, some big announcements for adaHandle. Their catalyst proposals for subhandles and for handle personalization have both been approved. And as a reminder, the basics of adaHandle, when you're trying to send some ADA from one address to the other, instead of having to remember the full long address, you can just send it to the corresponding adaHandle, and when you click on send, you'll see the address auto-populate corresponding to whatever wallet it is that holds the NFT for that specific adaHandle. So that's cool, but what about in the future? Let's say things go really well and the Woodland Pools team grows and there's a whole bunch of people on the team. Ideally, you want to be able to send transactions back and forth between the team members and be able to use adaHandles that correspond to the Woodland Pools organization. That's where subhandles come in. So with subhandles, any root handle owner, whether it's a person, corporation, or organization, can issue nested subhandles. So for example, if we look here at the root adaHandle of one DAO, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, that's better. Now let's say the organization has this root handle of one DAO. The owner of this can issue subhandles like Anon at one DAO, Tim at one DAO, and do any arbitrary number of accounts that all have the same root handle or root domain as this one DAO. Now, the utility is immediately obvious for things like organizations or companies, but it's just as useful and a lot of fun for something like a family or a club as well. You can imagine subhandles for like mom at family name, dad at family name. Really, really cool idea. You can issue as many as you want. And here's another subtle detail that's really neat. There are two types of subhandles. Each come with their own specific use cases and functionality, and it's up to the root handle owners on which one to use. The standard NFT ones are similar to how adaHandle works today, where the owner of the root handle can make as many subhandles as they want, and these will actually be minted as NFTs. They can be sent to different wallets, and the ones who are holding those NFTs, it's now up to their discretion how they use those subhandles and which wallets of their own they move them between. And this is useful for an organization where maybe the members are kind of static or where the notion of trust is a more permanent and ongoing one. So a family is a good example, right? Like your brother's not just going to stop being part of the family one day, so he can just move his subhandle to whatever wallet he prefers. But virtual subhandles are really cool when you think about a company. So let's say we have this DAO, and you might have like marketing at DAO or engineering at DAO. And now the wallets that are having these different adaHandles, the owners of those wallets that it corresponds to may leave the organization either voluntarily, they might be fired, and you don't want to be in the kind of situation where it's a physical NFT and that disgruntled employee that's gone, you have to ask them and hope that they send it back. Otherwise, when you hire somebody else for that role, you can't use that subhandle anymore. Virtual subhandles allow the ability to assign and revoke these subhandles based on the discretion of the root adaHandle holder, and this can be completely ephemeral and you could just flip these on and off however you need. And so again, the next proposal that was funded was personalization. And so the idea with personalization is that the adaHandle in your wallet, you can do certain preferences that you have, and then other wallets and things can recognize those preferences based on the adaHandle you're holding. What if any dApp you connected to could recognize that you prefer dark mode over light mode just by pulling up the attached data in the handle and have it set up that way as soon as you boot it up? And this is similar to the utility of adaHandle as a whole when it first came out. It's not necessarily that impressive or interesting that adaHandles exist. What's cool about them is setting a standard that then other applications can integrate to, so then as you move through these different applications, whether it's a wallet or a DEX or whatever else, if they all adhere to the adaHandle standard, now this interoperability makes sending and receiving significantly easier. If we can do the same thing with personalization, and these different applications recognize that personalization is there, you can now take your personal preferences with you across the ecosystem, and everywhere just recognizes what you as a user like to do based on the adaHandle that you're holding. Next, some cool updates with our friends over at NMKR. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that if you have not already, you can get some free NMKR tokens if you've ever used the NMKR ecosystem at all. If you want to participate in this, come to nmkr.io/airdrop. Right now, they're in the redeem phase of phase 1, but there's going to be 2 other phases of token distribution, so make sure that you follow the NMKR team and follow our Twitter account. We're always retweeting these things as they're happening. And as a reminder, with NMKR, there's lots of different things that you can do. With the NMKR Studio, you can release a full professional batch of NFTs. In the playground, you can make your one-off NFTs or a small NFT collection and mint them yourselves just for fun or to send them to friends. But the really big news for NMKR is that they were approved to be part of the Microsoft for Startups program. Through this program, NMKR can accelerate the development of new products and features, making building on the blockchain easier for everyone. The Microsoft for Startups program brings people, knowledge, and benefits together to help founders at every stage to solve startup challenges. Really, really huge news for the NMKR team. Congratulations to everyone on the team. So excited to see this coming out. This is really, really cool. And for the folks on the NMKR team, I would ask that as you're moving through the Microsoft for Startups program, please continue sharing with the community how it's going, what you're learning, what different resources are being provided. This could be a really great resource for lots of different projects that are moving forward on Cardano, and it'd be really, really neat to see how this whole program is working out. And as a segue to our last big announcement, the other really cool product the NMKR has is NMKR Pay. NMKR Pay allows other NFT projects to integrate directly into the NMKR infrastructure, and instead of having to figure out how to do all the whole payment system on their own, they can just use what's already built in here. A great example of a team taking advantage of this is Book.io. Currently, you can use Book.io to buy, read, and sell your own ebooks, and in the future, they're coming out with things like audiobooks and other things like that. A couple of updates for Book.io. We just had the second snapshot of the dropping, but if you want to participate and get your own copy of the Gutenberg Bible, remember that the final snapshot for the dropping and the final release is going to happen with a snapshot on November 1st and November 2nd. All remaining Gutenberg Bibles will be distributed out to those that are holding them. On the previous 2 snapshots, it was 1-to-1. However many you had is how many you got. For this third snapshot, it's based on however many are left. So it'll be nearly 1-to-1, but not exactly, because the math isn't necessarily going to work out exactly right to double everyone's for the remaining balance. But the huge news for Book.io is an investment from the Ingram Content Group, the world's leading book distributor. This is absolutely massive. Until now, we've all been excited about Book.io just based on its utility and being able to just buy books and read them in your wallet and then be able to sell them when you're done. And most of us have been pretty excited about that just on principle. But this Ingram announcement is absolutely next level. The Ingram Content Group is excited to join with Book.io in pioneering new supply chain models for ebook delivery that take advantage of security of blockchain technologies, the promise of Web3, and innovative commercialization models based on NFTs. And check this out. Using Ingram's print-on-demand service, Lightning Source, Book.io will bundle NFT ebooks with bespoke printed physical books, a scheme named Mint and Print, allowing the ability to print singular physical books based on the NFT ebook ownership and deliver those printed books within 48 hours anywhere in the world. How cool is that? You'll be able to go to the Ingram website, buy a book, and then within 2 days, you'll receive the physical copy at your house and the Book.io NFT that corresponds to that matching physical copy in your wallet. Josh, the CEO of Book.io, said, "We believe that the golden era of digital books has only just begun, and a partnership with Ingram will give us the opportunity to scale in order to meet the overwhelming demand we're experiencing and expand our platform to give digital ownership." We're in a bear market right now, and so none of the outside world seems to care about crypto, but if you look at all of these things that are silently happening in the background, Strica slowly and iteratively enabling full Cardano functionality in Ledger Live, adaHandles continuing to expand their functionality and all the different personalizations that you can take with you, NMKR with a massive company like Microsoft and the visibility that brings, things, and the trailblazing that it lays for other projects in the Cardano ecosystem looking for external guidance or funding, and Book.io partnering with one of the hugest distributors in the world, this is really starting to feel like everything is falling into place so that when the pendulum swings the other way and the market comes back, Cardano is set to absolutely explode. Let us know what you're most excited about or any news we might have missed, and if nothing else, we'll see you next week.